G'day and welcome to Reliability Hero, where we talk with maintenance and reliability people. Few things excite them more than making machines and equipment do more than they were ever designed to do. Faster, safer, longer, and more reliably. Whether you take minerals out of the ground, keep power plants running, or fix and maintain rail networks, aeroplanes, conveyor belts, or turbines, we acknowledge you for keeping economies moving. I'm Andrew Daddo, and this podcast is brought to you by the mainstream community. Michael Johnston, he's the head of renewables and firming operations at CS Energy. Now, we've got to be clear, Michael, you are an engineer. Fucking hell, here we go. This is Reliability Hero. I'm Andrew Daddo, joined by Michael Johnston. He is the head of renewables and firming operations at CS Energy, an engineer with an operational and maintenance background, not a process safety specialist, but I get the feeling you think everyone should be, or pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. At forums like Mainstream, when you have, hundreds of asset management, maintenance, reliability specialists coming together, I think it's absolutely imperative that every single one of us has a good understanding of what process safety is and how we should integrate those concepts into our asset management programs. Yeah,
isn't that part of it anyway? Like, isn't the? I mean, it feels, as an outsider, it feels like that's just safety is just a given.
Yeah, and safety is everyone's business, and every company you talk to, safety will be one of their number one priorities as a business. They want one of their biggest values. But process safety being those really rare but hugely catastrophic incidents.
So just define what process safety is.
Well, to me, it's those process excursions that shouldn't happen, and the consequence of those are huge to the businesses involved. They can involve multiple fatalities, years out of service for certain plants. So they're the really, really big catastrophic events that happen as a result of processes not being maintained in control.
And is that, like, often you'll hear them talk about controlling the controllables, right? And then there's preparing for things that you can't foresee. Where does... and it always confused me, actually. That's because they go, prepare for what you can't even imagine. I'm like, whoa, how do you prepare? So is that where this process safety sits somewhere in there?
Yeah, I think so. And part of the process safety journey is really investigating and interrogating what you don't think you can see, improving and looking as deep into a process and its protection processes as you can, so that you don't assume... I think...
Hang on, just start that answer again and then finish it off.
I think it's a really good observation. I think that the process safety, processes that you can use actually really force you to think about what is in your control and maybe expanding that sphere so that you absolutely sure of what is in control, what is in your control, and then how you measure and monitor those processes to make sure that they're where they should be and doing what they should be.
And that should stop the things that you can't even imagine.
Well, you should be able to imagine them. That's the trick, is imagine the worst case,
right?
Plan for it, risk assess it, and put in a range of protections and mitigations against those one in a million things that probably aren't on the front of your brain every day at work.
Okay, then. So how do you sell the idea of protecting against the unimaginable?
Well, I think people view their whole fears, their whole lives through their own lived experiences. A process safety event's not something you want to live through. So the best thing I would advise is to get online, read some case studies. There's lots of classic process safety examples to read through. It should really be almost mandatory education for engineers, maintenance leaders, to really understand the principles and the concepts around how those events occur, and what's important when you start to prioritise your asset management plans, your maintenance plans, and your reliability metrics to make sure that those fundamentals are part of your design.
Okay, so how do organisations embed the process safety into the operations?
It depends on your business, of course, but I think the first step for me would be to understand what some of those one percenters are, what some of those big hitters are, and talk about them. I think educating people on what process safety means and why it's important to everybody. I think that's a really important step, and then giving people tools and approaches to work through how they might mitigate some of those risks. There's lots of classical tools out there from the engineering handbooks like HAZOPS and CHAZOPS and bow tie processes and LOPA studies. There's plenty of engineering tools that are available when they're required. I think the trick is to get what's right for your business and embed those into your business. And then embed them into your asset management processes, so they're not something extra that you do as a once-off risk assessment, but they're something that you live. The classic asset management cycles: plan, do, check, act. And if the process safety concept is really part of that and drives some of your key metrics, and it's one of your core concerns as you do that, it'll come naturally.
Okay, what about implementing them? Because surely there's, in every organisation, there'll be people going, we really have to do this. And then there'll be the other factors, there'll be a financial factor that will be something to push back against. And then there's just the people who are just like, mate, really? You really think one raindrop's going to somehow work its way down a funnel that goes across 3 different floors down do you know what I mean?
It's a really good observation, and here at Mainstream this year, there's been lots of presentations around risk management, cumulative risk tools, and they're all really valid. And you just really have to pick one and stick with it, in my mind, and really concentrate on the consequence, not so much the likelihood. Because if that one raindrop did hurt, then you really want to know about just the consequence.
So say that again. Concentrate on the consequence.
Yeah, concentrate on the consequence of an outcome, not so much the likelihood.
Okay, but so then do people push back against that? Is there a natural thing to go, mate, or again a management thing of going?
Yeah, if there's a car coming up the road and there's a 1% chance he might hit you, if you cross the road, you might chance it. But if you just considered the consequence, irrespective of the likelihood of getting hit, you probably wouldn't cross the road, right? Okay. So it's just about the consequence view.
Okay. So I think you might have answered this, but to get organisations to improve and set up maintenance in this sense, is it education? Is it only education?
No, I think it's just a back to basics approach. And myself, if you get the foundations right, the rest will follow. And you asked around some of the rationale behind why you would align your process safety and your asset management processes. It's because the consequences are hugely significant. It could be that an oil rig's caught fire. It could be that there's been a multiple fatality incident. So a lot of companies actually can't afford the consequence. So the business case becomes pretty obvious to start with. I also think if you get the practice of good asset management, good maintenance management aligned with your reliability goals, which would include the reliability of your process safety systems, the economics follow. Your traditional metrics like your uptime and your availability, your traditional reliability metrics, they follow suit if you're doing the basics well anyway. So it's not about doing something completely differently. It's about augmenting what you do well with a process safety mindset.
So it's a continuation.
Yep.
Okay. On another topic, how's the renewable world at this, right now? Is it an exciting time? Is it less exciting than it was 3 years ago, or is it more exciting than it was 3 years ago?
I'm excited and privileged to be part of the renewable energy transition. It's there's a lot of opportunity for people to participate. There's huge challenges for Australia to overcome, but that just means that that technical people, commercial people, transportation people, all of the skill sets that Australia needs all get a challenge and all get an opportunity to participate. the rate of change is amazing, and having been exposed to it a lot more than I would have thought coming off a thermal power station, the amount of innovation and ability for people to overcome challenges is mind-blowing. It's really, really exciting.
And so what about that notion of coming off a thermal power station? Like, do you sort of look back and go, dodge that one, like I'm out of there now? I've got a positive thing to talk about?
Yeah, look, the energy transition is as much about its people as the technology or the asset base. And there's a great opportunity for people to use their skill sets that they have in their career and apply them to new technology, whether it be construction, operations and maintenance, engineering, procurement, logistics. All of those opportunities exist in the future energy world as well.
Yeah.
And our job as participants in the transition is about making sure our people are skilled for the opportunities and have the opportunity to grab them. We need to do that while we're still maintaining our current asset base. So there's a whole challenge in that. How do we transition assets out safely and maintain what's required while building out a capable workforce for the new range of assets?
Yeah.
So there's lots of challenges to overcome, but it's all about getting the people ready and making sure everyone has an opportunity.
And in terms of the people, it is a great opportunity, isn't it?
Yep.
Like it is really the chance to start, to be at the start of something new.
Well, absolutely. And if you simply read the forecasts and you look at the renewable generation build out that Australia has planned, there's an enormous opportunity to try your hand at any part of that. The sky's really the limit. And for me personally, I've just had the chance to learn so much about the same industry, but a whole new range of asset bases, technical skills, operational readiness concepts, and
is it much different being hands-on as opposed to the reading? When you're at uni and things like that, you would have had an understanding, but actually to be in the guts of it.
Yeah, well, I think I've always tried to be practical. That's why I talk about back to basics, sort of reliability management myself. But I think for younger people coming through, graduates and a generation behind me, the new asset base is data rich. It's technologically advanced, so they get the chance to take those skill sets and overtake old blokes like me and actually apply that skill set onto some of this new plant.
Okay, so is there an urgency for you then? And your ilk, I mean, I don't reckon you're that old.
No.
Let's be honest. To actually just keep learning harder and harder to keep yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess a lot of the principles that you learn in a process plant or a mine around maintenance, reliability, people interactions and culture, they're hugely transferable. So you don't have to start afresh, but there's a different environmental and social approach. There's different stakeholders. There's different technology suites. There's different challenges. So you get to bring your toolbox and learn some new tools as well.
Lots to do. Yeah. Good on you, Michael. Michael Johnston, Head of Renewables and Firming Operations at CS Energy. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Andrew.
Thanks for tuning in to Reliability Hero. Keep the world running, and we'll catch you next time. This podcast was brought to you by the mainstream community.